Welcome to week 6 of the Advanced Olympic Distance Training Plan from Scientific Triathlon. This is another week of aerobic capacity where we continue to progress volume and intensity before next week where we have a deload week. Volume goes up to 15 hours 25 minutes from last week being at 14 hours 45. So this is a hefty week for sure. The range that we're talking about here in terms of the optional workouts and adjustable duration workouts is from 14 hours 20 to 16 hours 50. So most of the shortening that you can do is removing the Friday optional ride. And if you are feeling a bit more tired, that you're accumulating some fatigue, then definitely skipping that optional ride might be a good idea. But you should also realize that feeling some fatigue is okay. It's feeling too much fatigue that is not. So, and that's always tricky to know, of course, what is okay and what is too much. But generally speaking, if you keep practicing great intensity discipline and not doing things harder than planned, just doing what is on the program, no less, no more, then you should be in a pretty good place, and it should be all right for you. Make sure you get enough sleep, of course, and get good nutrition in and fuel your training in your intense and in your long workouts as well. That is really, really important. Another thing that I want to mention is that if you're feeling tired at the start of a workout, that's quite normal, and practicing the 20-minute rule can be helpful. So for example, if we take Tuesday's bike ride as an example with 6 times 4-minute intervals, the 20-minute rule is essentially, it tells you to go through at least 20 minutes of the ride, of the warm-up, including some of the main set, and assess how you feel after that. So not just if you after 10 minutes feel like crap, calling it a day, but actually go through the entire warm-up, and the warm-up here is actually 23 minutes. So in this case, maybe you would shorten the warm-up a bit, make it 15 minutes, or you would go through all the 23 minutes and start the first interval and decide to do maybe at least 3 minutes of that first interval, and at that point you would have a good idea of how you're feeling. So that it would be a 27-minute rule in that case, but you could, as I said, shorten the warm-up a bit, do 15 minutes of it, and then go into that first interval, and then you could have your 20-minute rule there. And depending on how you feel, you might decide to just modify the workout a little bit. For example, instead of 6 times 4 minutes, you could do 12 times 2 minutes, which is slightly easier, but still a great workout. And you would get all of the time in zone that was originally planned. You could also choose to not do the intensity part of the workout, but just do an endurance ride of the same duration. So an hour and 5 minutes in zone 2 in this case, or zone 1. Or you could choose to skip the workout if you feel really, really bad. And if you feel really, really bad, then don't be afraid to take that day off. And of course, if you actually find that after that first bout of the interval, or even if it's just 2 or 3 minutes that you give as a test run, you start to feel better, and maybe you take a little bit of rest, and then you start the second interval, and now you feel normal. That happens quite a lot, surprisingly often. Then you can just go through the workout as planned. So that is an important and a useful tool to have in your toolbox to get through the hard workouts. Another thing to mention in a week like this, or in general in this training plan, is that no single workout is important nor unimportant. It's really the sum total of training done over weeks and months that matter. So if you need to skip something like an interval workout, that's fine. It's just because it's an interval workout doesn't mean that it's necessarily any more important than an endurance run or an endurance ride. Likewise, just because a workout is a shorter, easier run doesn't mean that it gives you license to skip it because it won't be of any benefit, because it will be. It's just that that single workout won't be, but it will contribute to the sum total of work that you're doing week on week, month on month, year on year. So that is an important thing to keep in mind. Some workout highlights. The VO2 max work on the swim, we move on from the 50s, and we actually do a ladder with 4 times 100, 6 times 75, and 8 times 50, all at best average effort with fairly long recoveries. But I just want to point out here that when we're doing things like hundreds, this is the kind of session where you might actually, some athletes might do them way too hard, do them absolutely all out, smash your absolute fastest 100 that you can in the first one, and then you're dead for the rest of the set. And that's not the idea. It should be, of course, a very fast 100 or four very fast 100s, but make sure that you do the best average effort that you can. So probably the first one shouldn't be the fastest, because then you risk doing it a bit too fast and not having energy left at the end of the set. So yeah, just be a little bit careful with pacing in the swim is the point I want to make here. Also a reminder that if you are focused on improving your swim, then definitely do these add-on sets, the 15 minutes or so of extra swimming that every single week we have in one of the swims in this plan. And usually they are some sort of threshold focused effort, but nothing too crazy. So here we have a typical example, alternating 100 easy, 100 threshold. And then we actually this week have a fourth swim on the Saturday. So that is an open water skills session, and it can be in the pool or in the open water. If you have the option to do it in the open water, that is of course absolutely brilliant, and that is what I would recommend. But if that's not a possibility due to weather or where you live or whatever it may be, then the pool swim is a great option. So you have the open water option is here, and then the pool option is down here. It looks like a lot of text, but it's just, it will be easy to understand. So just read through that, and it should be fairly self-explanatory. But do keep in mind that although this is a short swim, it is not an optional swim. It is a swim that you should be doing. If Saturday is not a good day for you to do it, feel free to move it to another day, like perhaps a Thursday or a Tuesday. You could maybe move the Tuesday run to Saturday instead. That would be fine. So anyway, that's another swim that I wanted to mention. And in this swim, make sure you take the opportunity to practice the open water skills like sighting, and all of the things mentioned here. So obviously, in the pool you can't do everything that you can in the open water, but you can make sure that you practice both right-sided breathing and left-sided breathing, because you might need to do that in a race. So do things like that. Other than that, the workouts stay more or less the same with some progression. The running pyramid increases the work duration from 20 minutes to 23 minutes, and the bike intervals we saw are 6 times 4 minutes instead of 6 times 3.5. So pretty much the same, but with a bit of progression. And by now you are familiar with that type of work, so you should be able to pace yourself very well and get through these interval workouts and the long workouts. The interval workouts, remember, should be hard, but you should have 1 rep left in the tank at the end of them. All right, enjoy the week, good luck, and I'll talk to you next week.